Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. BBC Pundit left amazed by Bukayo Saka. Gareth Crooks has been left amazed by Arsenal star Bukayo Saka over the past week and labelled his first touch impeccable on BBC Sport. Arsenal have picked up where they left off before the World Cup break and stormed into a 7 points lead at the top of the Premier League. The Gunners picked up a convincing 4-2 win over Brighton on Saturday after beating West Ham 3-1 earlier in the week. Saka got on the score sheet on both occasions and has built on his brilliant performances at the World Cup. The 21-year-old opened the scoring for Mikel Arteta's men on Saturday with a composed finish and helped his side capitalise on Manchester City, dropping points against Everton. Now Crooks has heaped praise on Saka for his performances over the past week and was particularly impressed by his goal against Brighton. Crooks named Saka in his team of the week for a second time over the past 7 days and highlighted the youngster's work rate during Arsenal's win over Brighton. He said the following: "In a matter of days, Bukayo Saka has made my team selection on 2 separate occasions. He was outstanding against West Ham and then played a crucial part in the demastilling of Brighton at the Amex Stadium. What always stands out for me with this player is he always starts a game quickly and is an immediate threat to the opposition. His first touch to set up his goal against Brighton in just a matter of seconds was impeccable. His ability to defend and be a team player is also commendable. It's a feature of Mikel Arteta's style of play and the demands he places on each and every one of his players." Saka has certainly been a standout performer for Arsenal this season, and he is seemingly gained even more confidence after starring for England in Qatar. The Gunners' star is developing into a lethal finisher and has really stepped up over the past week in Gabriel Jesus' absence. Arteta's side seemed to be dealing with the Brazilian's injury better than many expected, and Eddie Nketiah has now bagged 2 goals in as many games. Cascarino claims Eddie Nketiah is the best finisher at Arsenal. Tony Cascarino has lauded Eddie Nketiah and told The Times that he believes that the 23-year-old is the best finisher in the Arsenal squad and capable of making a huge impact during his run in the side. Nketiah has now scored in his last 3 games for the Gunners. Of course, one of those came before the World Cup break when he was relying on the Carabao Cup for the chance to start games. Gabriel Jesus' injury in Qatar caused some panic amongst supporters. He has been an outstanding signing, and there would have been real concern over how Nketiah would potentially fill the void the Brazilian left, but so far, the Englishman has been immense. He scored in the win against West Ham, and he followed that by scoring the potentially critical 3rd goal against Brighton on Saturday. It would be a little surprise to see Mikel Arteta's side sign a player to help the team cope while Jesus is sidelined. However, Cascarino believes Nketiah could make a real difference for Arsenal. He told The Times the following: "Their squad depth is growing too. Gabriel Jesus' injury was a blow, but Eddie Nketiah is capable of making a massive impact, and I think he is the best finisher at the club." Arsenal will strengthen in the January transfer window and have Jesus and Emile Smith-Rowe to come back. It did appear that Nketiah's game was improving considerably. Before the second half of last season, a departure from the Emirates appeared inevitable, but he did well when he got his chance, and he seems to have taken his game to another level this season. The arrival of Jesus appeared to push Nketiah to really kick on. To claim that he is the best finisher at the club is quite something. Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli and Martin Odegaard have all been brilliant in front of goal this season, and Jesus' quality in the final third has also been overlooked by some. But it's not out of the question to include Nketiah in the conversation, and his stock is continuing to rise. Merson heaps praise on Arsenal midfielder Martin Odegaard. Paul Merson has heaped praise on Martin Odegaard after his super performance for Arsenal against Brighton in the weekend. The Norwegian was the star man as Arsenal beat Brighton in a decent win, having scored and provided at least one assist. The midfielder made arguably the best pass of the season to Gabriel Martinelli to send the Brazilian on his way to score his goal in the 4-2 victory. He had created another chance by nutmegging a Brighton player in the first half of the game and continued to use his tricky to unsettle the Seagulls. After the game, Merson said via the Daily Mail, "When you talk about people seeing pictures, Martin Odegaard knows what he is doing before this ball comes. He knows what he is doing and Martinelli knows what he is doing and he is away. He is running with pace full pelt with the ball. That is Ronnie O'Sullivan in football. He is looking at the posts and that is what Martin Odegaard. A lot of people don't see that pass. He is probably the only player on the pitch who sees that. Kevin De Bruyne sees it. Odegaard sees it. But I don't think any other player in the Premier League sees it up and up." Odegaard was the star of the show in the win against Brighton, and he deserves all the praise he is getting now from pundits and fans. The midfielder has been a key contributor to our success this season, and he will be vital if we win the league or any trophy this season. Arsenal could now bid for Juventus midfielder Fabio Miretti. Arsenal could make a bid for Juventus midfielder Fabio Miretti in January, according to reports coming from Italy this weekend. Calciomercato reports how impressive young midfielder Miretti is on the radar of the Gunners as they seek improvements in the January transfer window. The Gunners are looking to add to the squad this winter. Sitting top of the Premier League table, the Crowings are thought to be keen on backing Mikel Arteta with further enforcements, and according to CMW, Miretti is one player Arsenal could go for. It's claimed a bid of around £35 million could arrive from Arsenal in January, as well as the Gunners, Newcastle United and Chelsea are also credited with having an interest in the Juventus ace. Miretti, 19 years old, is seen as one of Italy's brightest prospects coming through at the moment. Indeed, he has been on Arsenal's radar for some time as well, with reports going back to the summer claiming the Gunners were keen. The teenager has drawn comparisons to Manchester City star Kevin De Bruyne for how he plays. High praise indeed for a player who has a lot to prove in the game. The Gunners are making a nice habit of being linked with young up-and-coming players who have a huge future in the game. Miretti looks like being a top young midfielder with a high ceiling. He is an ideal player really for Mikel Arteta, who has proven himself as being a top coach with the young stars at Arsenal. Arsenal do need to add a few new faces in January if they can. It could just get them over the line even though they are dominating right now. The only downside to a player like Miretti is he is more for the future rather than the here and now. Arsenal monitoring exciting 20-year-old Norwegian talent. Arsenal has been named as one of the clubs interested in signing Molde midfielder Sivert Mannsverk as he catches the attention of European side. The Gunners are famed for developing football talents, which has made them one of the best places for many players who aspire to reach the top of world football. The Norway national team captain, Martin Odegaard, already plays for Arsenal after they rescued him from a disappointing spell at Real Madrid, and no doubt he will have an influence on the young man. A report on Photo has now revealed they are monitoring Mannsverk as he develops his game back in his homeland. They are not alone, with Manchester United also in the running for his signature, but the Gunners could beat them to win it. We remain one of the best places any youngsters can go if they want to develop their career in the game. Mannsverk would have heard of our success story in terms of talent management, and it should persuade him to choose a move to Arsenal. However, he will struggle to play because we have a good set of midfielders now, and he is unlikely to bench the players he would meet at the club. Arsenal have a clear run at Sergej Milinkovic-Savic says journalist. Journalist Dino Jones has claimed that Arsenal now have a clear run at signing Lazio and Serbia midfielder Sergej Milinkovic-Savic in the January transfer window. Mikel Arteta's men are on the market for a couple of new forwards, but central midfield is definitely one area where they can do with reinforcements. Milinkovic-Savic has been heavily linked with a move to the Emirates over the last few months. Corriere dello Sport revealed last week that Arsenal are now in pole position in the race to sign Milinkovic-Savic, either in the winter window or in the summer. The report claimed that the Gunners have already held talks with the Serbian's agent over a potential move in 2023, and Milinkovic-Savic, who has rejected the North Londoners in the past, is much more open to a transfer now. Jones has now had his say on the situation, and he believes this is the best time for Arsenal to make a move for the Serbian, as they have a reasonably clear run at him, the journalist told Give Me Sport. The one thing in Arsenal's favour here is that Milinkovic-Savic didn't quite light up the World Cup in a way that he could have done. If Arsenal do want him, this would probably be the time to make their move, because they had a reasonably clear run at him. Milinkovic-Savic's current contract expires in the summer of 2024. Milinkovic-Savic has been sensational for Lazio over the years. Since the start of the 1920 campaign, he has directly contributed to over 15 goals in every single season, and he is on track to do the same again this term as well. That is an outrageous return for a midfielder, and it's no surprise at all that his club's president, Claudio Lotito, thinks he is the best midfielder in the world. Some at Arsenal see Joao Felix as an ideal loan signing. Joao Felix has stayed in contact with Thomas Partey as Arsenal consider the possibility of signing the Atletico Madrid star on loan during the January transfer window. According to a report from The Athletic, Felix could certainly be one of the big movers this month. He has struggled to live up to expectations in the Spanish capital. The Athletic notes that some of his teammates have grown frustrated with his lack of consistency, and it seems that he could be Premier League bound. The report notes that Jorge Mendes is in contact with Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United, amongst others. Atletico, meanwhile, will sanction a loan which includes a £13.3 million fee and also sees his £5.3 million wages covered. Of course, that is a significant outlay, and the Athletic suggests that Arsenal want to pay significantly less as a fee for the 23-year-old, but they are interested. The Athletic claims that the Gunners see the forward as an ideal addition to their ranks on loan. Parallels are down between Felix and the deal which saw Martin Odegaard move to the London Stadium from their La Liga rivals. The report adds that Felix remains in contact with Partey, which may help the Gunners' cause. However, it's noted that he has international teammates in the Manchester United camp. You can understand why Arsenal may have their reservations. Felix has not proved to be worth the money for Diego Simeone's side, and £18.6 million is a major outlay for a loan signing. However, if they can negotiate a lower price, it surely becomes a no-brainer. Arsenal find themselves in an absolutely amazing position in the Premier League right now. If Felix came in and helped Mikel Arteta's side to the title, the considerable fee will have been repaid. He is a special talent with the potential to be a lot better than he has been for Atleti. Given that there is a long way to go in January, it would be a little surprise if someone decided to take a pound on a deal. Arsenal to make a new bid for main January target, Mykhaylo Mudryk. Arsenal remains keen to sign Mykhaylo Mudryk in this transfer window, despite considering him overpriced by Shakhtar Donetsk. The winger has been one of the informed young players in European football this season, and several clubs want to buy him. However, Arsenal seems to be leading the race for his signature and has already tabled an initial bid for him, but it was rejected. The Ukrainians are looking to sell him for close to €100 million and have compared him to Jack Grealish, which made them turn down Arsenal's first offer. A report in the Daily Mail reveals the Gunners are expected to return with a new and improved offer in the coming days. The players seems eager to move to London, and a report on Express Sport reveals he has already agreed on personal terms with the Gunners. This means the club just needs to find an agreement now, and he will fly to London to complete the transfer. Arsenal wants to get the deal done, the player wants to move, and his employers are happy to discuss the transfer. Mudryk is doing his best to complete the season in London, and it's only right that we play our part to make the move happen. The winger is one of the finest players we can add to our squad for the second half of the season, and it will be a good transfer deal to make. He has already dropped the strongest hints he wants to join us, and we must do our part and make the transfer happen. The attacker will improve our options in the second half of the season, but we must resist the urge to pay too much for him in January. There is almost no better player who can play his role, but we should refrain from bowing to the demands of his employers. If they do not accept a reasonable fee, it's not taboo to back out of the talks. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news show, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.